we're diving into a true masterclass in building at scale. From his first job at just 12 years old to teaching himself to code, dropping out of college, and going on to build one of the most ambitious tech companies to come out of Ireland. This episode is all about Bobby's Moonshot Playbook, how he hires, how he interviews, what he looks for in final round conversations, and how he makes tough decisions as a company grows. We touch on venture capital and boards, and the real focus is on people, scale, and building something that lasts. And if you're interested in working for Bobby one day, you'll take a lot from this episode. This episode is brought to you by Top Drawer Talent, the supply chain and procurement recruitment specialist, Nesta Storage, Dublin's #1 self-storage provider, and IT.ie, keeping businesses secure and connected with managed IT and cybersecurity solutions. Let's get into it. Here we go.
Obviously, you're a massively successful entrepreneur, right? What do you see is the major stumbling block people get when they're trying to scale from 1 million to kind of 5 million?
The difficult part, so the revenue number is kind of not the difficult part.
Okay.
It's the people scaling is the probably really hard part. So whatever number of people you need for your organization to get to whatever revenue you need to get for that stage of the business, it can be 10, which is easy. It can be 50, which is more difficult, or in our case, we're 170. Yeah. My last business was 650. The hardest part to get right is the people, keeping people on board, keeping them happy, keeping them motivated in the right direction. So I never would think about what's the hard part of getting from, X to Y in revenue terms. I would think structurally what the company needs to, what's the shape of the company that you need to have, and how can you keep that efficient and everyone's rowing in the right direction. So generally, if you're going from 1 million to 3, let's say, if you have 1 million, that's already a lot of revenue. And if it's a long tail of customers, it means you've done a lot of the discipline of product and product efficiency, delivery, customer service, all that stuff. But if you have 1 million just from one customer, then you've learned fuck all, right? And going 1 to 3, you're not going to learn fuck all. So it's number of customers. So if you think about organizationally, the size of your company, the number of people, the structure, and then underneath that you think, well, there's customers there. Is it a long tail? Are there other things that you have to do to scale a long tail of customers? Or if it's B2B, there's likely not, it's just a handful. So if I think about Maily, my other business, the travel tech business, it has 50 customers. It's got 50 people in the company, and it happens to have 50 customers as well. Okay. So you don't need to scale much to do that. So that company goes from 1 to 20 million with no real change. Okay. But if you're selling, Manna is a good example, right? So for us to scale from 1 million to 20 million, right, we have to do 20 times, right, which is good maths, right? But organizationally, manufacturing would have to be scaled up, and that's not linear. To scale up manufacturing, because quality assurance, so much quality assurance and documentation around what we do. To scale a manufacturing organization, you wouldn't want to scale a 50 aircraft organization to get to 400 aircraft. You wouldn't want to scale the same thing. You'd want to say, Jesus, it's incredibly inefficient the way we do it now, so we need to restructure it. The whole thing. Yeah, so like every business that I've ever run, it's never been linear. It's always every couple of years we nearly rebuild the whole thing, restructure the whole thing, reset, say, right, what was valid for back then, it's just, you could scale it, paddle underwater, scale ugly, or scale not so pretty, but you shouldn't, like, in the end, you're going to lose big time if you do that. So the answer is, if you want to scale from 1 to 3, it's likely that you're going to restructure, reset the organization and bring new people in, or if the existing team you have can grow and can change, then that's useful. But like, I think the hard part is a lot of people that are good for an organization that's 1 are probably not good for an organization that's 10.
Okay. So do you have like a team, right? Because you've built a couple of companies now that you kind of take with you to your new ventures?
No.
Or do you rebuild the whole team from scratch? And then when you're going through that like rebuilding process, when you're going to scale, do you wipe the team and then hire a new team in, or like?
No, I mean, there's no formula for any company. There's some things that generally are important. People are very important, so having a really strong people leader, chief legal, chief people, all that stuff. There are certain things, not a template, but there's certain things that are not obvious, but they're incredibly important. So the person who leads your people team is incredibly important and easy to forget about or ignore or not care about. But if you don't do that well, you have a problem. In all my businesses, this is my 6th one now. I'm running 2 at the moment. None of them have been the same really, but what's common thread through them all is the people. So like, a ton of the people have worked for me in Melee, our car trawler now work for me both Melee and Manna, and even VTI before the Reland before that. Like, so I've people that come with me the whole way. Okay. So like the CTO of Manna, Alan Hicks, just a legend, CTO, software guy. Yeah. We're friends, but it was very obvious when I was starting this thing off, Alan, you're coming on board. It wasn't even a question. Okay. So you don't think about companies as a company, because a company isn't anything. It's just an entity, right? It's just a legal entity. It's those people that are with you your whole career, that are building together with you. And you might be their boss, but you're not really. I mean, you're just working together. Yeah. And so the actual entity doesn't mean anything. It's the project. Right. And so I have a travel technology project, Melee, and I have a drone delivery project, Manna, which happens to be a bit mad. But the common thing that comes the whole way are people, and everything else changes, and you have to size the organization. Sorry, not size it, but shape the organization based on what the problem is you're solving, what product you're building, and how ambitious you want to be with it, and all that stuff. It has to be rethought every time. Yeah.
So you find it's like, if you get the right people on and the mission is right and everyone kind of pulling in the same direction, that's the way it's basically built. And then to keep those people right, is it constantly like mission focused, or are you rewarding them then financially and beating market rates?
In Ireland, it has to be mission focused, because we're competing with FDI companies, the Googles, Facebooks, and so on. So you're in the end, you're like, if your people are young, they're going to be mission focused. Generally, they want to work on good work. They want to build, particularly tech people. But as they get older, money is important, and they've got mortgages, they have children, whatever. So money becomes, they're less risk averse. They need more money. Like, Ireland's an incredibly expensive place to live now. Yeah. And if you're young, you can't afford to get a house, all these usual problems, right? So as a startup, mission is important, and you can get away with it for a certain amount of time where people are underpaid. But ultimately, you're going to start leaking people to American tech companies, because they're all poaching. Like, we have Facebook, Meta, whatever, Google, trying to poach our people all the time. And they don't leave because we're just fucking great. But at some point, the spouses will be onto them saying, Jesus, you got offered twice as much to work in Meta. Yeah. Why wouldn't you do that? Well, because they believe in the mission, but they also believe in their stock options. Yeah. Right? So, I mean, we could make a load of millionaires, and they believe that. Yeah. And I believe it. So, like, they're all in it for the joy of the work, the mission, and reasonably good pay. But also, pretty much everyone that works for Manna really does believe we're going to be a fucking gigantic company. Yeah. And we may or may not be. There's a good chance we will be. Yeah. And if we are, they're going to be hugely successful as a result. So the trick is to, if it's not working out, that's tough, because it's pretty obvious to everyone, because I'm very transparent. We do weekly stand-ups. Everyone knows the state of the company. Everyone knows where we're doing well or we're not, what the competition doing, all that stuff. So they all know almost as quickly as I do how well we're doing. So you got to keep them motivated. It's no different than a football team, like Liverpool, you can go on a slide and the shoulders drop after one game, and then you lose 5 in a row, 6 in a row, whatever. There's no difference in running a team in a company. There's always going to be knocks. There's always going to be disappointments, more disappointments than successes. And you can't let that, you have to, put everything in perspective. And like, if I let things get to me, negative things, Jesus, I'd be throwing myself off a building, But I'm not like everyone else. The rest of my team generally are normal people, So you have to, this all comes into not just keeping your team and not having the disruption of losing people, but also getting new people on board, because you want to get most of your people on board through network, through people that are already in the company or people that know people. You don't want to be hiring cold, and having belief in the company from the people who work in it is critical. Because like all our marketing stuff, like if you look from the outside in, we look cool, look SpaceX, all that stuff, but it has to be real, or otherwise you're just going to leak people. And just if you look at our LinkedIn, you'll see that virtually nobody leaves Manna. You know, so that's what you want. You want to be there. Whereas in my last business, Car Trawler got decimated by FDI companies hiring everyone. Oh, right. Okay. And now even Mailey, my other travel tech companies, 50 people in there, most of them came from Car Trawler. Right. Because they're just, you know, companies, they shed a lot of skin and they don't have the spirit anymore, or startups do.
Mm. And do you think like the people that you have kept, do they believe in you or do they believe in the company?
Yeah, mostly they believe in the company, in the business, and they trust me enough to lead it. That's simple as, you know, like they don't have blind faith in me. They're smart people. They make their own views. Yeah. You know, like we're still small, like 170 people. Most of them at the town hall, they'll ask hard questions. They put their hands up and they'll ask questions, like, you know, deeply insightful questions that need to be answered honestly. So they don't need to trust me. They have all the information themselves. Okay, so and if it comes down to judgment, it's their own judgment on whether they believe or not. And I'm not selling to them. Well, you know, I am because I believe in it. So I'm leading the team and motivating them. But they make their own decisions on whether to work for us and stay working for us.
Okay. So in terms of like yourself, right? Like if you have to like let someone go from that team, like how do you feel? Do you personally do it or does your team do it? And then how do you feel if it has to happen if you're like firing people?
Emotionless. I mean, if someone has the wrong attitude, I feel joyful about firing them. Okay. If they have the wrong attitude, they should never have been there in the first place, and they're doing a disservice to themselves and to everyone around them. Now, some people will have the wrong attitude. It's not the wrong attitude, but they're just not doing it and they're not working. It's because they just don't belong. Okay. And it's not their own fault as a person. It's just they don't belong in that environment, whatever the environment is. And those are, again, easy decisions to push out because generally they want to be pushed out anyway, you know, and a lot of people won't make the decision themselves and you make it for them. In the cases where people just don't have the ability anymore and the company just outgrows them, that's a more difficult one because you have a duty to them as well because they gave you a couple of years or 5 years, whatever it is, and they're good people and just the company evolves past them. And that, by the way, could equally apply to me, right? The most natural thing to happen is generally is companies, if they're growing, will outgrow most of the people that work in that company. And you have to bring in people with different skill sets that, you know, just are the right people for the company in that state. And when you outgrow those people, sometimes you have the luxury of keeping everyone on and you just find them new posts or whatever, and they're happy. And some people feel left out, left behind by that growth, and that's more difficult conversations. But I still, I won't say I enjoy them, but I don't have any difficulty with them. Okay. And then there's some people that I would say the assholes that then, you know, the people team would manage them, right? And the people team would try to get them back on board, try to help them to fix themselves, their behavior, their attitude, whatever it is, or manage them out. And you can't scale that. So this, you know, you couldn't scale it. That takes a lot of time. That's why you need a really strong people organization. Okay. Yeah. And
going all the way back, right, Bobby, right? What was your first ever job? Like, was it coding? Or?
Filling coal bags in Monaghan's fuel centre in Reedsdale. Yeah, that was my first job. And then working in a bar.
Okay. What age were you when you had that first job?
Oh, like 12, 13, something like that, yeah. Not even, probably 11. And then O'Dwyer's 14, 15. I was working there.
Was that kind of pushed on you at a young age to get a job? Or
wanted money.
You
wanted to buy stuff.
Okay, so are you a money motivated person? Or?
No, I'm stuff motivated. Well, I'd say I'm choice motivated. So money gives you choices.
Okay, yeah.
So no, I'm not material in any way. Yeah. Never have been. And I'm not motivated by money. I can promise you money does not make you any happier. And it's likely, and it's not because of the money, it's likely that you're going to be unhappier if you've, you know, tons of success or whatever, because you just no work-life balance, right? Yeah. I don't need a work-life balance. I absolutely fucking love building stuff. I still write code. Like, I'll be going home tonight writing code, and I love it. It's a hobby, always has been. Right. My first real job was writing video games, for Nintendo, yeah.
What was school like for you though? Like, did you get on well in school?
Oh, great. I was a good student. I wasn't the smartest.
Were you like an A student or
No,
B,
no,
C?
middle of the class. I was A in attitude,
Okay.
I would say. Not a lick arse or anything, but I studied hard enough to not fail everything.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have, anything I didn't like, I didn't do well at. So it was like history, English, shite. I was awful at them. Because there's just no interest in them.
Okay.
Everything else, anything technical, maths, physics, applied maths, biology, chemistry, loved it. And therefore I was good at it.
Yeah. Did you make it all the way through to Leaving Cert?
Yeah, I did. Did my Leaving Cert, shite Leaving Cert. 2 honours,
Okay.
7 passes.
You got it? It's
I
one
did
of me.
shite, yeah. But I didn't care. Like I got a computer when I was 13. I was just writing code.
Yeah.
I self-taught everything about programming, and I was like, I didn't care about anything else except programming, and I still don't.
Yeah.
I still sacrifice things I'm supposed to be doing as an adult, for programming.
Yeah. What like sparked that interest in programming, like, and computers? Like, was
I
it,
think
like,
a
family
curious
member or-
mind. Curious
Yeah.
mind. No, nobody inspired me. Curious mind. I was like, young kid playing with train sets. Then I got into electronics, and I was learning electronics. And I was a bookworm. I'd get the bus into Easton's in town and just sit there reading the books for
Really,
free. Yeah. I would have robbed them if I thought I got away with it, but couldn't. So I had to sit there for hours reading them. Yeah, they used to kick me out of the place.
Really?
Yeah, because you can go to the library if you want to read for free. It
that's
says,
not
the library doesn't have this book though. So I was like curious mind. I'm curious. I love to learn, but simple things like tech for me. And that kind of spurred me into, and programming, there was a home computer craze when 1982 when I was really starting to get me stride.
What
I was
languages
just
were you
doing, it was all assembler then, right? So
Okay.
I started to learn Z80 assembler, the ZX Spectrum was where I learned.
Yeah.
And I started in basic, but you can't do anything with basic. And so I learned assembler, and then 6502, 68000, all the processors, I learned all of them.
Right.
But I had a Spectrum. I got a Spectrum when I was 13. For those that don't know, Spectrum is a pretty shite home computer.
Right.
I have one on my wall
You still
now.
have
That's great.
Did you buy it
they're
yourself
great.
or was it a Christmas present?
So my mother threw out my original Spectrum that I did all my work on, and then I bought another one signed by Matthew Smith, the author of Manic Miner. Anyone that's 50 knows that game. So it's a trophy computer, but it's great to learn on. It was kind of
Yeah.
very enjoyable. I mean, it was such a incredibly nice time in my life from 13 to 16, 17.
Did
where
you
I
play
was-
sports or anything? No.
Yeah, soccer. I played for Bray Wanderers. I was a good
Okay,
football
yeah,
player.
so good.
I love football. We're a footballing family.
Yeah.
My father was a professional, or I played for Drumcondra. Weren't professional back then, but like he was. We were very proud of him.
Right.
So I have all that. Like I'm a normal enough person, but I'm
Yeah.
a little bit obsessed with tech. I would say more than a lot of people would be,
Yeah.
and all from curiosity, I think.
Did you go to college then, or? Did
Oh,
you,
I went into chemistry
left,
to
did
computer science for 6 months. It's like,
Just
no,
done.
it wasn't very, Jesus,
then-
no. I was shocked at how so there's nothing wrong with the course. It was great for the people that finished their degrees.
Yeah.
But I can't sit still like that. Like, they had like whatever, 7 or 8 subjects. Only one of them was programming, and I already knew more than the lecturers knew programming. So like, I didn't need to learn programming,
Yeah.
but I thought I was going to learn more, but very clearly I wasn't. And then it was like German. They were teaching me statistics and all this stuff that I had no interest in.
Okay.
So, and then I got the job working for, it was actually a company in Waterford, which was like, for me, it was 17 years old. It was the dream job. First of all, I had a salary, which
Yeah.
was like money. I could buy a car, all that stuff. But it was freedom, get out of the house, move to Waterford. And it was, to work in video games back then was literally the dream job. If you had offered me to be the president of the United States or write games in Waterford all day long, I'd have done that. Made no money. I made a salary, like shite salary, but for me at the time it was great. But the work, it was like, honestly, it was just pure magic.
Right. Okay.
Magic.
So you just loved it.
Yeah.
Going back though, right? Like, if you could change something in the school system today, is there anything in particular that you would change now, with the success that you've had and the experience
The
that you
school
had in
system. I mean, junior, or like any particular...
Secondary school in particular, I think.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think schools do very well now. Like I went back to my old school, my old secondary school, Benilda's. I met he was my economics teacher, and then he became a headmaster. He's retired now, Martin Johnson. But he took me through the way they teach people now versus the way they used to teach us. It's all very different. It's very I think, well-structured environment now for really intelligent kids, just as well as the the strugglers, right? And half of my mates are either dummies or geniuses. They're like, I'm in the middle of them all, right? So we have them all. We go out for pints. It's just great crack. But there's some right idiots. and I would say they really got poorly treated in secondary school when we were growing up.
Okay.
Because like you're thick as two short planks, you'd be good with your hands there, hammer some nails in there, wait 6 years and then fuck off and get a job in the trade, you know. There was no support for them.
Yeah.
But there is now, right? So what I would say is Ireland, Dublin, wherever, has developed well with the times to give everyone an equal chance to be educated and have a career, whatever. But the wheels turn slowly, and I was listening to a headmaster on radio just yesterday in Dublin. I can't remember where the school was. It's a pity I don't have a memory. But she was brilliant. She was talking about how tight their budget is. And like they haven't a pot to piss in, and costs have gone up, and they've less students in the school now, which is great. But they still have to heat the building, and the building was in the 1950s, so they haven't got a pot to piss in. So that headmaster, half her job is raising money through charity, getting students organised and stuff. And the school my kids go to, Divine Word in Rathfarnham, the headmaster spends all his time. Brilliant guy he is, absolute legend. He spends half his time raising money to just try and do better for the kids. So I'd say if I would change anything, I would say, yeah, look, maybe we're not investing enough from the Department of Education's point of view in these amazing people that run our schools, that are like the people that educated me, the people that educate my children. I've yet to find an asshole in all of them. They're working their asses off for our kids.
They're difficult people.
Really, you know. And I think they need, you know, just more capital, more resources to get the job done. That's the first point. And I would pay our teachers a lot more money too. Now I'm writing blank checks for the government. I know they don't have it. So with respect to the government, I think they do a great job. But I definitely feel that our education system could do a little bit more love. And if we did give a little bit more love, then we would probably see the other part of my wish list, which is if another Bobby Healy goes into secondary school, don't make him fucking learn French and history and all that stuff. You know, tailor things, have more focused things to, you know, provide a more modern education to people, right? That'd be what I would say, man.
Yeah.
What do I know?
Do you think, let's say we had a guy in school, right, that was learning programming like the way Bobby Healy was at 13 or 14, and he came to you for a job at 16 and say, done with the junior cert, I'm done with it. Would you take him on, or would you make him go through the leaving cert?
I've hired people out of Leaving Cert.
Yeah, but what about our junior certs?
Yeah, anytime, no problem.
Yeah?
Yeah, if their parents were okay with it, that'd be fine.
Yeah. Have you ever done it?
And by the way, they would do well to come work for me if they were 15 years old.
Yeah.
They would learn a lot. It would be very beneficial to them. Would they be cutting off other opportunities? No, I don't think so. I wouldn't hire them if I didn't think that they were had the right type, if they were the right type of person.
Yeah.
No, because it's if I think about a programmer or product designer or anything like that, most young kids that are going to get into that space already know that that's what they're going to get into by the time they're 14 or 15.
Yeah.
So I would make sure that they were real about that they were right about it. They weren't just, there's a lot of pretenders that they think that's what they want, but it's not what they want. And I would know if they did. And if they did, I wouldn't hesitate to hire them, no. Yeah. So long as their parents are okay with it.
How would you assess if they were okay with it? Like, how would you...
I'd be talking to them.
Yeah.
Like I remember, so when I was in Cartrol, I hired 30 young people. We created a little incubator, right? I said, right, I want to go out and I want to get people at leaving cert level and bring them straight, bypass university, bring them into Cartrol, and we'll teach them mobile tech development, all that stuff. And we hired 25 or so of them, and they were all leaving cert age. And I remember I went and met two of them. There was two mates. They were in Benilda's college, and actually the headmaster said, these two guys are brilliant. You should talk to them. Right. So I met them. We had lunch in Dundrum, and one of them was a proper Java programmer, and one of them was a product designer. Okay. And the product designer, Podge, he won't be listening to this, but he still works for me now. He works for me in Cartrol, and now he works for me in Manna. Okay. And he's a legend. And he's probably, I don't know what, he's now 35, whatever. He has a solid career now. He's learned so much with me and the companies. He could do his own startup now, and he's got a super career. And the other guy, Brian, same thing. He worked for me in Cartrol, then he came to work for me in Manna I think, or Maley, I can't, no, in Manna, and now he's doing his own thing.
Right.
And like they both started for me straight out of the leaving cert.
Out of 25 that you had start with you,
Yeah.
right? Did you keep all 25, or did they fizzle out over like 6 months or a year? Or,
So
you know?
I would say 2 or 3 of them, wrong attitude, pushed them out. And the rest of them all shone, and they were amazing.
Right.
And some of them instantly grew out of tech and became managers or something. But they were all just young, hungry people who wanted to work hard, and we gave them an environment where we let them play with the toys. So like we ring fenced them all. They weren't part of the main company. They were in the incubator. So in my little place, no one was allowed to go there.
Yeah.
And we gave them projects to build. Actually, Flan is still working for me as well. There's loads of them. Still
Yeah,
working.
okay, so you kept fueling.
So yeah, like Flan now writes a ton of code for Manna, really important code.
Yeah.
And Flan started in there, and we just said, look, we want you to build. At the time, mobile phone React Native development was a big thing. The company, Cartroller, didn't know much about React Native. We were on a thing called Ajax back then, Angular. And I wanted to get proficiency in React Native, and no better people than young people that haven't been poisoned by old technology.
Right.
And then Alexa was out as well, so there was a lot of stuff going on with, you know, that kind of voice interface. And we just gave them all those cool things to build. We said, right, I want you to build this, this, and this. And they built us an on-demand taxi hailing app, like a Free Now. They built that. So they built all these really useful things for the company.
Yeah.
And some of them became products, and some of them didn't. They just became marketing tools, you know. But like they all got great work.
Yeah.
And they all worked their ass off, and it was a great environment. It was like golden opportunity for them.
Yeah. How long do you have someone in that incubator for before you put them into the main team?
Most of them we didn't. The incubator became product teams in their own right. So like the on-demand taxi thing became its own product. There's a bunch of different things we built in there. Very few of them went into the main teams, because the main teams, I wouldn't want to do that. Like if you're in the Cartroller code base is over 20 years old now. I wouldn't want my children working on 20-year-old code base.
Okay, so it's keeping
Yeah,
new
I
products.
prefer them going to the priesthood. Okay. So you want them to build new things.
Yeah.
You want it to be their thing that they build.
Right.
So there wasn't, like when you're building software, there's software that already works and it's got a big customer base, and so the code is old, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is. And that's like most developers, you know, don't want to work on that. But there's a certain type of person that's very happy working on and maintaining code. They tend to be older, they tend to want a work-life balance, and they just show up when it's important, and they truck along, and you have safe pair of hands. The product is always going to be fixable, evolve it slowly, you know, not much innovation, but it's there, and your customers are happy. Okay. And they tend to be just older people with kids and work-life balance, all that stuff. So you're not going to mix these young, hungry propeller heads with their skateboards and their tattoos into that, because they don't want to do that stuff. Yeah. And if they want to do it, there's something wrong with them, right? So ideally, you have a growing company where there's loads of new stuff that needs to be built. Okay. And that's where the hungry learners want to go and build all the new stuff and learn on the job. Yes. And then you've got this kind of stuff that floats to the top, which is the legacy product and application. And you got to, if you're lucky enough and you're a growth company, you always can keep everybody fed intellectually. Yeah. But if you're a staid company like Cartroller is now, it's only old people stuff, right? Because it's a great product, but it's an old one.
It's a legacy, okay.
Yeah.
And I suppose, let's say, right, this 16-year-old or whatever comes in, he builds the product, right? And like the taxi app, are you then investing in that product then to turn it into a full-scale company, or do you own the intellectual property for that and it's your product?
Yeah, but if they're working for the company owns the product. Yeah. But most of the things you would try, like a lot of the stuff I put into that incubator was just to let them learn about, you know, React Native or whatever technologies I wanted. Like I wanted a company to be proficient at certain technologies. Yeah. And so they were able to learn those technologies and see if they were valid or not and build something of use at the same time. Did they become the core products? The taxi hailing one did. Right. I'm just trying to think, the Alexa interface didn't, but a bunch of stuff they built was great, and we used it for marketing. Yeah. You know, but it was never going to be a revenue generating product, or not one that would in any way eclipse the flagship product. Yeah. But what those people would have come away with is, like, a lot of them would have been, say, 2 years in, they'd have built something that they could say, I built that. And then that frees them up to leave and do their own startup with enough experience. or apply for another role in another company or a better role in Manna, a higher paid one with more responsibility, whatever, right? It gives them a path. And like that, quite a bunch of them work for me now in other companies. So they also learn about me and they get into my network, and that networks are exponential, you know? That's the thing.
Do you invest in though, like, have you ever invested in one of your own employees, like to start a side?
Yeah, I have, yeah. I don't do much
successful?
investing now because like you don't have the time and it's just like pissing money away. Because if you want to be an investor, you have to be willing to do the diligence, do all the work of really sizing up the market, the opportunity, you know, all that stuff, proper diligence. And you also need to really support the founder. You need to get behind them. I've no interest in just writing a check and, you know, looking for me money in 3 years or 4 years. That because I'm not motivated by money at all, right? I'm interested in the people side of it. So I've often invested in companies feeling maybe the company will work, probably won't work, but fuck it, I like this guy. And if he fails or she fails, they're going to now work with me and something else.
Okay.
So like a great example is a guy, I better not name the company, but I invested in a company. I was on the board for 15 years, and I always thought the company was always going to struggle to really break through. But the founder I really believed in, he was an amazing guy, resilience beyond belief, such great qualities in all sorts of different ways. In many ways, he could be the CEO of Manna, probably do a better job of it than me. And I always, you know, supported him, worked with him, invested in him. And in the end, the business failed. He works for me now in Manna. And he's going to be a critical part of Manna's growth. So like, you know, it's kind of what goes around comes around. Maybe that's the right phrase. But if you're someone like me, you should always be engaging with people to bring them into your network, to find ways to work with them, to learn about each other. Because when you're building your next company, your biggest asset, like, in fact, your biggest asset as you get older is those people in your network that you can spin something up. If you're entrepreneurial and you want to build stuff, like again, Mealy is 50 people, 60-70% of them are already worked for me before.
Okay, sorry, I
right?
understand
You know, so instantly you've got a company instantly tooled up, ready to go with great people that you know. So you de-risk all of that part when you go faster. And Manna's the same. Like a lot of the key people in Manna were with me before. And like all of this because I'm working my ass off the whole time, building network, working with people in different ways, not in the context of their company, but in the context of Bobby Healy. And you're with me, we're doing stuff together. It may be just, you know, we're building, you know, some product together, like outside of a company or whatever. You're always building a network. Right. So that when you have a role open that you want to hire for, you already know the person. And if you go out, if you find yourself, whoever's listening to this, if you're building a company, if you ever go out to hire someone when you need to hire them, you've already fucked it up.
Okay, should have those people in the pipeline.
You should have a surplus of people to hire that are waiting for the contract before you have the money to hire them, before the role even exists. You should have people ready to go to war when you can open up the opportunity. Okay. And like I always say this to my team now, both in Manna and Mealy, look, we just raised a load of money. Now we got to hire 20 people, whatever it is. What's their names? Okay. And if the answer is, well, we're going to get the recruitment consultants, we're going to get the headhunters on it, or, you know, I'm going to go looking at LinkedIn, like you've already really majorly fucked up there.
Okay.
You know, because you're hiring strangers and it's going to take you 6 months to get them on board and trained up. You've already lost so much time and created so much uncertainty. So if you are building a company, if you and everyone else in your company aren't actively building network and looking for great people to poach, then you're not running the business properly.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. How involved are you in the hiring process, like across the board? Like,
deeply involved.
Deeply. Are you meeting everybody that comes into the team? Or
most people. Most people. Well, now I'm meeting all the important people.
Okay.
So we just hired 2 credible new mechanical engineers, 1 electrical, 3 great software people. I met them all, but I just meet them casually. Like meet them we'd have lunch or coffees or whatever. Spend an hour with them just chatting shite.
Yeah.
As much to either get them over the line to convince them if they needed a push to come join us. Right. It's never a veto. Like I met this guy the other day, and a mechanical engineer, incredibly strong guy, and my manager that was hiring him, I actually found the guy, but I hadn't met him, but my manager was hiring him, really was keen to hire him, and I met him, and he kind of joked at the end, so you're going to use the veto then or not? I said, this isn't a veto meeting. So he assumed that I'm meeting to veto, right? That's not why I meet people.
Okay.
So there's definitely a case with a lot of people like me that would say, I'm meeting everyone just in case you've made a giant fuck up and I'm going to veto it, right?
Okay.
That's not why I mean. If I'm vetoing people, then I've made a mistake in the person that's trying to make the hire in the first place.
Okay.
So I'm not meaning people to veto them. I'm meaning them either to get them over the line, to make them feel great about Manna, to make them trust me and believe in me. And it's just about creating a really positive environment for them to be really excited about coming on board.
Okay.
And sometimes that means I'm doing a bit of selling. It's 100% not for me to veto them, but I'm particularly with tech people, I'm incredibly curious too.
Okay.
Like, I want to talk to them.
Yeah, how their mind works, sure.
Yeah, well, I want to learn. I don't want to learn what they've learned. Like particularly in hardware, there's so much I don't know. Robotics, vision, all these areas I'm interested in. If we hire someone that's brilliant in a certain area, I want to download their whole fucking brain, because it makes me better at leading the company. It's what I love,
Okay.
So.
How long are those chats typically last? Like, is it like a half an hour?
Hour or two, yeah.
Hour two, you go.
It depends. If there's a lot, they'll go a long time if I'm interested in the tech side of things. If it's just like, I met this girl who came on as head of commercial a few months ago, and she was amazing, amazing, but I'm absolutely no interest in that type of stuff. So like probably half an hour, but either way, it's still, I want them to feel good about the company and about me leading the company as much as I want to meet them to see. I need to know everyone who's coming in. Like it's a sport. So if you're not what's a CEO's job? Like once you're throttled up, CEO's job is to make decisions.
Yeah.
And it is to hire people.
Okay.
And raise money if you're a venture, right? So that's it.
On the venture side of things, right, let's get into it, right?
Yeah.
You took venture capital for Manna. What's the benefits of taking it versus not taking it and using venture capital firms? And then you're using multiple different kind of firms or just the one?
So this is the first business I've taken venture in.
Okay.
So this is my sixth business, right? The first one that is always going to burn money. Like we're nearly 7 years old and we're losing $1.5 million a month, nearly 2 million, so, you're not going to fund that yourself. So in some businesses, depending on the type of business, you don't have a choice. You have to bring in investment, right? And in some, you have a choice, and the choice is grow slowly and conservatively or grow more quickly.
Okay.
And if I give you a really good example, a company I founded in 1991, to show you how old I am, VTI, and then we reversed into Eland, which is another company I had, so we just joined them up. And it was bootstrapped, we always made money. We always just signed up clients, got money, and that was called profit, and we'd grow slowly. And sometimes when 9/11 happened, we lost a bunch of customers because there were airlines. So cash dwindled, and we had to be careful. We weren't hiring people. We didn't grow fast, but we were always profitable, right? And it was a huge mistake, because in the end, I sold the business 12 years later for a large sum of money, right? But it should have been 5 times the large sum of money. Okay. And one of my competitors sold with a quarter of the revenue we had for 4 times what we sold for.
Okay.
And they were a shite company. We were way better product and like more customers, everything. Yeah. But we had no growth. We were like flat, just what's called a lifestyle business.
Yeah.
And they had investors. They had a story about growth, all this bollocks, and net, they sold for 4 or 5 times their worth, and I sold for a quarter of my worth. Okay. Right? So that was a strategic mistake in not bringing on external capital. Right. And that was because I was 25 years old, my co-founder was 55, going on 60, and so he wanted just, no risk kind of thing. By the way, he's still a great mate, and it's just his stage in life. He just needed money, didn't want to roll the dice, and I'm always rolling the dice. Yeah. So it was a mistake. And And then if you look at car trawler is a huge success, but always profitable.
Yeah.
You know, car trawler is just a horse that kept winning. And so there's loads of profit, so we piled loads of debt into it, and it was just, everyone was taking money out. It was like the golden goose, right? It never needed investment, but arguably we didn't also need private equity. So we had private equity partners.
Yeah.
We could have just kept growing with nothing. But then you're just growing to sell, right? You're going to grow, and so sometimes you're just going to sell the business.
Yeah.
We always believed in the business, myself and Mike, that we could grow this thing forever. It could be $10 billion company. So we didn't want to sell it. So therefore we use private equity as a means to reward staff, give them a few quid, sell some shares, and do it that way. And that's also very valid. Like, that was a really good decision.
Yeah.
And it worked really well for everybody, right? And then with Manna, Manna has a lot of investors now. We've raised a shit ton of money, and we're going to need a shit ton more. But if we're successful, we'll be the biggest company that Ireland's ever seen, potentially Europe's ever seen. So it's just a different. This is a moonshot, and moonshots, you know, such a low chance of success, but at the same time such a big prize, and whoever gets the prize is going to be really doing well. So you have to use venture to back something like that. And there's very little in between, right? So Manna's going to need a ton of capital, therefore we're going to always be fundraising and getting diluted, all that stuff. But that's fine. Like, I don't care about dilution or reasonable dilution. I don't care.
Yeah, like, how much of a chunk of the pie are you actually giving away?
I mean, if you go the whole way, you'd be lucky to be left with 10 to 20%.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be lucky.
Okay, but that's when it has to be that moonshot, right, to get the payday back.
Correct.
Out.
You want it to be 10% of 10 billion.
Yeah.
Not 10% of
100 grand.
10 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's simple. So but you should know when you're starting a business what its trajectory is. Like, you know, from the space, you know how big the market is. Hopefully, if the product's well defined, you know how big the market is. You know where the competition is. You know what percentage of market you can likely take in whatever decade or 15 years, whatever it is. So it's easy to know if it's going to be just an organic kind of a lifestyle business that you're going to sell, or it's a moonshot. Like, that's pretty obvious, and that determines. But if you're making decisions based on a fear of dilution or a fear of having external investors, you shouldn't be running a startup.
Okay.
Like, that is tail wagging dog stuff. Right. You do what's right for the business, not for you. Okay. Right? And you're obviously a stakeholder, but if it's not exactly what's right for the business, you shouldn't be running a startup.
Okay, fair enough. How do you maintain control over the company and the direction and keep your vision with only 10% of
you do a good job.
Okay. Yeah, because
you earn the right to tell people at the board to fuck off if they're wrong.
Okay.
That's it. Right. Michael O'Leary doesn't have a dominant shareholding of Ryanair. Yeah. But he calls the shots. Okay. So if you're doing a good job as a CEO and you run the business well and the business is doing well, it doesn't matter what shareholding you have. If you're at the point where you're having to outvote people at the board table, I would say sell the business, get the fuck out, get out of the way.
Okay. It's that simple. So
it's not. There's also poor investors, right? There's also investors that are toxic, that are trying to take advantage and are not doing the right thing by the founders. And I've seen that. I've been at those board tables. Thankfully, I've never been affected by it myself. But there are toxic investors in Ireland that I've seen them in their behaviour, and yes, it would have been great for the founder to have a majority shareholding and all that stuff. But if you bring on the wrong investor, it's on you. So therefore, you get what you kind of sow the wrong seed. But if you do, that is an area where advice is useful. Okay. And network and reference is useful. So if you have investor X and they want to invest in your company, if you haven't done your legwork to find out how they've behaved with other founders and other companies, then it's on you, right?
Yeah. So is it your, because you have a board, right, and you've got a smaller chunk of the pie, right, and you need more money into the business, is it your decision then of what investor comes on, or is it just we're strapped for cash, this is an investor ready to put money in, let's take them?
Yeah, so sometimes you won't have a choice. Sometimes, you've tried, exhausted all angles, and the only one willing to write a check is whatever. and it's like you're taking the money one way or the other. So like you have to keep the company alive.
Okay.
So you're taking the money and you're hoping for the best.
Yeah.
There are some things that you can do in the term sheet and in the legals to protect yourself in some way.
What are those things?
Oh, like for example, you could have super voting rights. For example, even though you're diluted, you could still have control of the board number of board seats, things like that. So you can still have voting. So there's a bunch of things like that. But there's things like liquidation preferences, for example, that like if you did exit and you had to sell, you can be screwed. There's a bunch of things. But like there's a great book called Venture Deals, which I would highly recommend.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think of the name of the author. I can't think of it. Venture Deals. It's a book that kind of teaches you all these tricks, like 400 pages. If you haven't read it, read it, buy the book. It's a super book. Yeah. But it teaches the structure of legals around financing, debt, equity, and everything in between. And it's full of lessons from both the founders and the investors' point of view. Right. And it takes you through loads of different examples and kind of teaches you through the founder's viewpoint and what's good and bad there, and the investors. Venture Deals, I can't think of the name. I'll send it to you afterwards. Yeah. You can stick it in the show notes. Yeah. But it's very difficult to learn that stuff the easy way. Generally, people learn that stuff the hard way. They get it wrong. Yeah. And particularly, again, in Ireland,
does that kill businesses, though, if you get it wrong?
Oh, yeah, it does, yeah. It kills incentive for the founders and the founding team. It just puts them in a bad position and they're not motivated the same way. I have some good friends that run now very successful businesses in Dublin, and their first shot at it, they got absolutely screwed by investors. Just really shit investors that held them to ransom. And that was because they were naive and they didn't get good legal advice when they were going into it, and or they had no other choice. They had to take the soup.
So it's probably very hard though, if you've no money, you've got the idea, but you have no experience, right?
It's like if you have no money and the only one guy willing to write you a check, you take the check.
Yeah.
But you try to have a good, honest conversation with the investor to say, but it needs to be informed. You can't be a gobshite as well, going in with absolutely no understanding of a term sheet or any of that stuff. But so again, it's on you. If you haven't educated yourself on how term sheets work and how safes work or convertible loan notes work or board voting rights and structures work, if you're not educated on that, then again, you get what you get what you deserve. It's not hard to educate yourself. Now with ChatGPT, literally, you can literally just dump it all in there and ask questions. So, but I would definitely say, number one, take the money. Do what's right for the company, not you. That's your first thing, right? Yeah. You do what's right for the company and it'll all work out, right? Do not be defensive and don't do things just because you might be getting short end of the stick or whatever. Like you only get one life, and you probably only have 3 shots at building a startup. Like it's a decade to do a startup. Yeah. It's a decade, right? If you're 20, that's your best decade. 30 is pretty good decade. Right. Then onwards, you're like 40, 50. Like I'm fucking 57.
You're fucking
yeah.
6 companies later.
Yeah, but like you don't have many shots.
Yeah.
So, study up on what will work from a ambition perspective. And your ambition is not a big number. It is, of course, a big number, but that's not the target. The target is success, enjoying the ride, and if you're thinking about dilution or any of that stuff, you shouldn't be in the startup game.
Okay.
Right?
Just dilute.
You should be thinking about how much capital can I get for this business to make it succeed? Right. And then everything else you try to mitigate. So not to get any asshole investors, not to get any assholes in your team, make sure everyone's working, all that stuff. But your motivation should be to enjoy the decade immensely. Yeah. And that's it.
Quick pause in the conversation to shout 2 of today's sponsors. First up, IT.ie, your trusted partner for managed IT services, cybersecurity and modern workplace solutions. If you want your business running smoothly, securely and future ready, these are the people to talk to. You can visit it.ie for more information. And if you're moving house, scaling a business, renovating, or just need a bit of extra breathing room, Nesta Storage can really take the stress out of the process. They offer secure, modern and flexible storage solutions with both short and long-term options, perfect if your new place isn't ready yet or if you don't want to move everything at once. Simple, safe and stress-free storage when you need it most. Plus, Nest even offer a free moving service. You can visit nested.ie for more information or even give the guys a call. Let's get back to the conversation. Here we go.
What about yourself, right? Because you've obviously like, been working hard, right? Like, do you go out at the weekends, enjoy yourself, or like what does the day in the life look like for Bobby?
I like work. So like obviously Manna takes a lot of time. Mailey doesn't take that much time. I do a bit of travel. Like I'll go meet customers for Mailey and I'll meet them, do their strategy, tech strategy, and do the board, all that stuff. Manna is like 7-day a week job, but it's a really interesting, nice job. And then spare time I write code. I'm writing Nevernote, it's called now. It's a replacement for Evernote, which is a pile of shite. I've been subscribed to it for 15 years. I'm so annoyed with it. So I'm building my own version of Evernote.
Just because you're frustrated?
Yeah, I'm fucking annoyed. I know it's on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm posting the code up. I'm open sourcing it.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a better product than Evernote.
Right.
And I'm going to try and destroy Evernote with it by giving it away for free. And I'm enjoying it immensely. Like with my birthday, I spent the whole of my birthday just building the code, putting it on Twitter, taking ideas from people, what to add to it. And it's going to be an incredible note taker, AI note taker. It's going to be amazing.
Right. Okay.
And I really enjoy a few things about that. I enjoy writing the code because I'm vibe coding now, so it's all AI. And it's really satisfying, and I love building the product, very satisfying. But I love the fun of socializing it too, and everyone's starting to follow it now, and people are sending requests in, and I'm going to put the first version out. I haven't published it yet. I'll probably put the first version out on the weekend. So like I'm kind of going on holidays now.
Right.
I'll be the next 4 or 5 days, like 12 to 15 hours a day, writing code to get that product live. So I want to have it live before Christmas. And then I'm going to think, right, how do I promote it and build it into a business?
Right.
Not for me, I'm going to give it away, right? I might put it under a charity or something like that.
Okay,
I'm involved a lot with charity. I might just create a company, put the shares into a charity and then spin it up. But I'm going to put some energy into it.
Yeah.
And so that's what I do in my spare time. I play a lot of chess as well, online chess. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But like, are you like, do you play sports then now still? Are you in the gym or?
No exercise. So I keep getting injured. I play 5-side football, keep getting injured. Bit of 11-side football. Actually, Des Trainer is brilliant. I don't know if Des went to Intercom. He's a good friend and an investor in Manna. And he keeps trying to get me back into the 11-side football. It's like I keep getting injured, don't have the fucking time. So no, nothing. Okay. So no, I have a wife and kids already. I don't need the guns like all you young lads. I don't need to look well. I just moisturise. That's my exercise.
That's it.
Yeah.
But it's fucking, how long are you off on holidays for? And you're going to code for 15 hours a day?
I'm going to code every minute except Christmas Day.
Jeez. Yeah. So you just, the wife not be killing you saying?
The wife is great.
No?
My wife she knows what I am. She knew what I am when she was getting into this thing.
She just accepts it.
We're married, I think, 14 years, 4 kids. She knows, and she's very happy doing what she does, raising children, and we have a really harmonious thing. And I work a lot of time in the house, and it's like, don't come into the blue room, I'm working, and they don't come in. It works. It works great. We're very happy, It's like sometimes she'll drag me out, like fucking Marley Park or something for a walk. It's like all I'm thinking about is getting back to my desk.
Okay, so you're fucking constantly
completely obsessed with building.
Do you ever get tired of it though after so many years of just being like constantly in front of the screen? Or just
like I was 49 when I started Manna, and I remember thinking, fuck, should I be doing a startup now? I'm 49, I'm old, and it's a decade, so I'll be 59 when it's finished, but I'm 57 now, there's probably another 10 years left to build Manna fully at least. And I definitely thought like maybe I shouldn't be doing this now, maybe I should be just, retiring. It's like,
do you think you'll ever retire?
Nope. Manna's got to play out. Manna's doing great, but that's a long while away before I'd be out of Manna. Right. Maybe someone would take over Manna from me at some point along the way, but I wouldn't be in a rush to do that. Yeah. So Manna would be there, and then like I'd be probably 65, 70 maybe, and then I'd be building something else. But it would be more code. Like I definitely don't want to be having 1,000 people working for me. I'd be building tech, 100%.
What any idea like what the next business will be?
Defense tech, yeah.
Defense tech,
military, yeah.
So like
Andrew. So you see, Andrew is lethal, but I would like non-lethal defense tech, because like world's going to be at war for a long time. I think we have an obligation to defend, and create defensive tech. If Ukraine would have had the tech it has now 4 years ago, Russia never would have invaded.
Yeah.
So I would like to think that you can build technology to prevent offensive attacks or to mitigate them. So for example, an Iron Dome, proper one, a low cost one, so you can't be hit with missiles or whatever. There's a lot of really interesting use cases there to solve with tech, and a lot of money to be made, ton of money to be made in that space without needing to hurt anyone or kill anyone, to protect people. Okay. So that's what I would build. But that's an all-in thing.
Yeah.
You can't do Manna and that. It's just too much. And obviously Manna has no role in that. Manna's flying hamburgers. Yeah.
What about the parcel delivery side of it? What, DPD or?
No, we'll do that 100%. Yeah. We get asked all the time for that, and that will be business, because they think we're a low-cost airline. That's the way to think about it. So we have a utilization curve where we're busy at night from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. And we're busy in the morning, breakfast and coffees and stuff. But in the middle of the day, 4 or 5 hours, we're not busy. So we could be flying parcels there, and we could do hospital deliveries. There's loads of, for example, one hospital in Dublin alone spends 16 million quid a year on taxis. Just sending samples to labs or stuff, right? So we could completely replace that with drone delivery, and it'd be a great business and a great service to society, right? So but some people have a go at us about, Jesus, we're using the airspace to sell coffee and hamburgers. And it's can we not do something better? Of course we can, but we're in infrastructure, we're A to B, right? So our job is to provide a reliable, safe, scalable, green infrastructure to let economies do better. And that's what we're building. The first use case is takeaway food, because that is the biggest use case by a mile. And also it's an industry, the hospitality industry, the restaurants, whatever, that are struggling with shitty margins, with using delivery drivers and riders that are dangerous on the roads, that are creating CO2 and can't scale to meet their business needs. So we're building something that's great for the consumer, great for small businesses, creating jobs. And you might question that we're using the airspace for flying burritos, but I would say to you, look at the amount of jobs we're going to create. We're going to create tens of thousands of jobs in Ireland alone.
Do you think the fear, though, with the regulations and stuff like that you're coming up against in terms of drone delivery, that they're fearful that you might be actually pushing people out of jobs?
No, we're not at all. We have 35 people hired in Blanchardstown alone, just one operation. And so every new operation, like Tal or Dundrum or whatever, be 30 to 50 new jobs there. And those are the direct jobs we create. The real jobs we're not just creating, but we're protecting, is the small family-run businesses that are going out of business. Restaurants are going out of business. They can't afford the cost, right? You just ask any restaurateur, they're dying, right? And they would do delivery if they could afford it, but they have to pay 30% commission or more, and they can't get enough riders or drivers to do it. So it just doesn't work. No, we're protecting existing jobs. We're turning restaurant business or coffee shops or whatever you want to say, in from barely making it work to being highly profitable, because suddenly anyone that we work with, we have 50 small businesses in Blanchardstown we work with. Any one of those businesses now has, with a 3-minute flight, access to 50,000 air codes and 150,000 customers.
Yeah, it's crazy,
and they pay fuck all for it.
How is the product getting to the drone site, right? So is it a person has to bring it from the restaurant to the drone site, or is one of the Manna people going, get it from the restaurant and bring it to the drone site?
We put the drones as close as possible to where the product is, and in some cases, like Kahuna Pops, we just stock the pops in our base, and same with the beverages and the coffee. But some of them are up to 200-300 meters away, and we have runners to go out and get the product, which is not a great business, right? So you don't want to be doing that, not because you can still make loads of money, and the runner can do 5 or 6 deliveries an hour kind of thing. But compared to row-based delivery doing 2 or 3, so it's still good.
Yeah, it's still good.
But you don't want to have runners, it just breaks the model. So we will be introducing ground robots for that. Right. Early next year, we'll start doing ground robots to pick the products up at restaurants. And the ground robots will bring them to the air robots.
Right. We still need a person then take it from the ground robot into the drone.
Correct. But one of those people can do about 25 deliveries an hour already. Yeah. So can do 25 turnarounds, we call it, so loads of the cargo. That's a really quick process.
Yeah. It's different. How many drones then do you have operating then in Blanchardstown at the moment?
11.
11,
yeah.
Okay.
And that's more than enough for current operations, more than enough, yeah. You do, Any kind of, we do a 3 kilometer radius. We could fly a lot further, but we just operate 3 kilometer radius. So that's at pi r squared, 9 times 3, 27 square kilometers. You're going to do all of that with, at peak, 15 aircraft in the air, off peak, 4 or 5 aircraft in the air.
Has there been any like incidents with the drones where they've crashed into each other, or is the technology just so good?
No,
Sorry?
no, it's so good. No, we had one parachute deploy in Balbriggan. So the aircraft has a parachute on it. So if things go horribly wrong, we had a single point of failure in our prop hub, the thing that holds the props on, and the bolt failed, fatigue fracture, and the propeller came off. So the aircraft vibrated too much. When aircraft vibrates, that's not good for control. So the parachute deploys and it lands safely on the ground. So it's fine. No, outside that, no, we haven't. With nearly 300,000 deliveries now.
How much is like a drone costing to actually manufacture? Can you say? Or will you say?
No, I can tell you. Yeah, it's about 20 grand all in, and we'll get that to probably about 10 grand, I would say. Jeez. Yeah, because like we're subscale now. We only have like less than 100 aircraft. Now in 2026 we'll be building another 300 or 400 aircraft up in Glasnevin. Right. And so we'll get some scale economies there, be more efficient, but you're looking at about 20 grand. Like it's not your typical drone. It's got all sorts of redundancy and systems in it for safety to make sure that everything's always right. It's got it's high quality, components. Like everything we buy is more expensive than you would expect because we're only looking for the best suppliers, premium materials, all that stuff. And then a lot of labor goes into quality assurance part of manufacturing as well. So we'll get them down to 10K, but like the cost of drone doesn't matter because one of our drones will do 75,000 flights in its lifetime. So it's going to generate way more cash than...
What's the lifespan on a drone though? Like is it a year?
75,000 flights.
Okay, so
like one drone in theory could do 60, 70 flights a day, right? If you're busy and you have demand, but realistically it won't. It might do 30 flights a day, say a drone, something like that. So you work it out. The drone could be 4 years working for you. Yeah. It just depends on volume.
What's the battery lifespan on it? Like you're changing the battery then every few hours, or?
So the way to think about drones is your aircraft is your depreciating asset, right? So we depreciate that over 75,000 flights, and then the motors are depreciated over hours of operation. So we depreciate ours over 1,000 hours, right? So think of it that way, 6 flights, so 6,000 flights, the motors, all 8 motors have to be replaced. The batteries, our current technology, we do 600 flights on a battery, so 600 recharges. Yeah. So we fly always with a full battery every flight. Right. So 600 cycles in a battery, and then you're losing about 10 to 15% capacity and we won't use it. So we'll retire a battery that's very usable battery, a great battery that still has a great life ahead of it, but we just won't use it for safety. We want only batteries in prime condition. So our current batteries are 600 flights and our new batteries are 2,000 flights, different battery chemistry. Right. So, and that's it. So our cost per flight is the depreciation on that battery, depreciation on the motors. Okay. So that's the way you think about it. So you think about battery as number of cycles and motors number of hours.
And then the battery obviously still works, so you could probably use that then to power the robot that goes to collect.
The ground robots are much more efficient because it's much more efficient with wheels or legs than props. So a ground robot, you charge it once and it'll work the whole day, and you don't care if it runs out of battery, it's just going to stop. It's not going to fall out of the air. So it's a totally different safety system with those. But ground robots are interesting because their capex, the cost for ground robots, far less. And you have a lot of sensors, but then you have all the issues of crossing roads and detecting people and detecting environment, all the perception stuff. So it's much more of a software problem than a hardware problem, whereas the aircraft is much more of a hardware problem than a software problem. Because the aircraft, everything has to work, no matter what fails, everything has to keep working. Right. So a bit of software orchestration on a complex hardware, kind of failover system, whereas the ground robot, you don't care if it fails. You just, put the software to figure out how to navigate, areas where there's pedestrians. There's a lot of work there, but it's all fun. Yeah. It's also interesting.
Yeah, trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Grant. And then yourself then, right? What's been like one of the biggest failures in your career that kind of still stings to this day?
Hiring the wrong people. Like I've not made many big mistakes. Okay. One of them I mentioned was underselling on the company Eland that I sold. And that was a mistake. It wasn't a mistake, it was a conscious decision. but it cost me a lot of money because we didn't grow at the pace we could have grown at because we didn't take capital. But that wasn't a mistake. That was well, I mean, it depends on the way you look at it, right? But it was a choice. We knew that we were not going to get the same value, but we were going to de-risk the company by not taking on high growth. No, the biggest mistakes I've made is hiring, and it's, I could count on one hand the mistakes I made there with people, and they were incredibly damaging for the companies that I hired them in. Okay. Really, really damaging.
Was it just that you didn't maybe follow an in-depth process, or you didn't ask the right questions, or you just kind
of like if you hire, like, people are people, right? There was nothing wrong with those people per se. They're all good people, and I don't think I did a bad job necessarily hiring them. Maybe I could have done better. Like, it wasn't just me; it was the board, and there was a lot of people were saying, "Yeah, this is the right person." Okay. But if you get the wrong person, and because there are odds involved here, because, like, if you don't know the person, if you haven't worked with them before, you don't know. They might just be good at doing a dance. You know, they might just be good in an interview or good at selling themselves. And in this case, in these cases, the ones I can think of, they weren't the right type of person for the organizations I hired them into. And rather than just adapt and become part of that and work the way I would work, they tried to bring the whole organization to the way they had done things before. And it nearly destroyed the organization at least twice. Okay. Yeah.
How did you get the grips with that? Like, did something that you spot very quick, or did you let it kind of carry on too long?
It's hard to spot, you know. Okay. It's hard to spot until the damage is done. You know, it's difficult. It's not that. It's not obvious when things aren't working well in a company until you look back. Yeah. And all the changes have been made, and fuck it, none of these changes are working. These were bad changes. We need to unwind all this stuff, you know. Okay. So and a lot of it will often look like this person has done this in this company, and it's amazing, and that company's amazing. They've done this, therefore we bring them in. It's kind of a trophy bride almost. And turns out, you know, they did nothing in that other company. That was another company that someone else did all the good work or whatever. They got lucky, whatever, right? It's not on them, and it's not on me or the company. It's just the inevitable situation when you bring new people in, and they're maybe senior people, and they want to put their own stamp on the business, and they might be great, but they tried all this change and it doesn't work. And the company didn't need to change in the first place. Okay. But when you empower someone to do a job, you have to let them do the job, right? But if I look at the most damage I've ever done to my own personal wealth, it's the wrong word, but to the companies that I owned or ran, it was bringing on people and giving them the reins and them making balls of it.
What can you do?
If they're listening to this podcast, they'll know exactly who they are.
Okay, but that's just part of the risk of being an entrepreneur, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And going back then, right, as well to the board, right? Like, are you telling the board, I'm going to make this hire and who this person is, and then the board is nearly scrutinizing the person as well, or?
No, like, if it's a very senior person, yes. Well, generally at the size of company we're at, I wouldn't. Right. You know, I wouldn't service it, but let me think now. There's no roles I've brought to the board ever in Manna, I don't think. But there are roles I would bring. Like, we're going to be looking for a CFO, for example. We're going to be looking for a bunch of new hires over the next 12 months, and some of them I'll probably socialise with the board. Okay. Yeah, and I like that. Like, I have a great board. Yeah. So, like, you know, do they want to be doing interviews for me? No. Mm-hmm. You know, like, they're busy. Yeah. But some, like, for example, if we hire a CFO, I want their opinion on it, because if I hire the wrong CFO, I don't want it to be just my fault. I want it also to be their fault. You know,
that's fair enough. Yeah.
I know, like I have a certain few things, but I like a very good board, and I value their opinion. Yeah. You know,
how often, like, are you meeting with the board? Like, is it like monthly? And
monthly, but I'd be texting them all the time. Yeah. Like, some of the board members, I'm texting.
Like, you're probably
every day.
Someone, right? Like,
not mates, no, professional relationship, and they'd give me a hard time quite often at the board. Yeah. But I still value their opinion, and I might, you know, ask them questions about things, WhatsApp or whatever. We have an official board meeting, or 11 official board meetings, and those are good. We prepare for them, and we've good, like, 4 or 5 hours of conversation. Like, our upcoming January board, we're going to talk about 2026 plans, where we're going to grow, which markets will we grow in, and how much will it cost us, and all that stuff. and I'll value their opinion on, but it's going to be a diverging opinion. Like I won't agree with them, they won't agree with me. None of us will agree. Nobody will agree because we all have different views on what Manna should do next.
So it's a dictatorship then. So you're
then the dictatorship comes in, and it's my company. I'm running it. I'll make the decision, and I'll I won't. Nobody will be pissed off. It'll just be all right. This is what we're going to do, and we slight disagreement and commit, and it'll be a great robust thing. And they might change my mind. I might have my view altered as well because this isn't like I'm a programmer, right? So I'm going to present the options. My CFO now, Owen, COO, CFO, we'll present the numbers, we'll present the options, and it'll be a super 6-hour board meeting. It'll be very enjoyable. I'll enjoy it. They'll enjoy it. It'll be a robust debate of people with all the same goal in mind, which is success of the company, but we'll definitely have different viewpoints on it.
Okay.
And honestly, I'd be happy with any outcome because it'll, one way or the other, we'll make some good decisions and we'll stick to them.
Okay. So I know you kind of mentioned that you're looking for a CFO in maybe 2026. What are the other key hires that you're looking for in 2026?
Engineers mostly.
Anything specific in terms of like engineers?
Well, like if you think about our disciplines, it's hardware.
Okay.
It's electronics. It's mechanical, aeronautical, aerospace kind of engineering. Software, obviously, really strong software people, like really strong software people. Those are like the obvious ones that I think of, but we're also strengthening our people team at the moment. So we're going to be looking for a bunch of hires on the human resources side, hiring manager, finance team we're strengthening. We're looking for CFO, obviously, but we're also going to grow the finance team. We're looking for a VP of finance as well as a CFO. Like we have a CFO, he's awesome, but he wants to be the COO, so it's like you can't do both jobs. So we're gonna, but we're not in a rush for a lot of those hires. We're going to take our time and get it right. We're hiring everywhere. Like,
do you believe in the whole hire slow, fire fast, or are you hire fast, fire fast?
I definitely believe in fire fast.
Yeah.
And to be fair to people, to manage people properly so that they are enabled to do their job. And I think quite often, across my career, I've been responsible for situations where we haven't managed people properly and they've just dwindled and not performed. So like performance management, performance for growth, all these things that would be people team led are very important to getting the most out of people and giving them the best opportunity to win and succeed. But at the same time, if you just mishired or they've the wrong attitude, it's very important to move them on quickly because it's not fair on everyone else in the team. If you're playing football, like I don't know if you play football, what sports you play, but if you're playing on a team and you're all working your arse off and you're all training and there's someone that keeps letting the team down, you're angry with the manager for not fucking them out. You're not angry with them. You're angry with the manager because it's not their fault if they're shy of football.
Yeah, just shouldn't be there. And then when will the Talent and Drum sites be up online?
Oh God! So we're going to grow like crazy in Texas and a couple of other states in the USA. We're going to go like crazy in the Middle East, and I really, wearing my green jersey, want Ireland to be the biggest drone delivery country on the planet. But we have our challenges here.
Do you think it's going to happen? Like, do you think Ireland will be?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think, like we have nothing but great support from government, from the regulator, from I could go through a list of state entities that people love to bash that are actually our best cheerleaders and really behind us. And like we've just such incredible support from them, and we have a very small but very loud minority of people that are in the media all the time attacking us. And I don't want my team to be affected by that, but it's very typically Irish thing, And then planning permission comes into it, and kind of local councillors are worried that there's no planning regulations around drone delivery, so they think we should need planning permission. But if we apply for planning permission, we could be waiting 3 years. Like the way our planning system works, we could be waiting 3 years. And like a startup can't wait 3 years. Amazon and Google can wait 3 years, so it could well be that we don't even try in Ireland and Amazon and Google will be your drone delivery partner in Ireland because we can't wait 3 years for planning. So, but I am determined to try and make it work next year. We've applied for some planning permission where we believe we should. And in areas where we don't believe planning permission applies, we go ahead and we ask for forgiveness or retention or whatever it is, right? But what we're doing now is we're engaging with all the local councils. So, so councils are very important because they're the ones that get it in the neck from, constituents if they're not happy. And Dundrum in particular has some very active constituents. Yeah. And I'm from the area. Like, sorry, I grew up in Kilmacud and now I live in Rathfarnham. Like, Dundrum's my hunting ground. Yeah. I want drone delivery for my gaff.
Yeah, why not?
Like, I want drone delivery big time. And all my friends want it, and my kids want it. We all want drone delivery. And like, the vast majority of people are excited and love drone delivery. But there's a handful of activists that are out there just down with that sort of thing. They have their placards up and they just hate progress and change, all that stuff. We have to be respectful to them because we can't force it down their necks. But they've created a toxic environment with planning, not just for us, but with building and everything, right? And if any young people can't get a house, or afford a house or a flat or whatever, it's likely because of these assholes that are causing so much trouble in the local communities, right? Then, and we're just yet another victim of that carry on, right? Now, I'm still, like, I met with one county council yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? And we have meetings lined up with nearly all the county councils in Ireland. Right. And we're going in and saying, look, we want to come to your county and we want to fly here. Yeah. And we'll say, let's just do it, give it a try for a couple of years. If you don't like it, we'll go away. Right. But don't be afraid of us. It's a good thing generally. Yeah. It's going to create loads of jobs. And if you don't like us, then, we'll get temporary plan permission, then throw us out. Fine, right? But we'll go anywhere where we're welcome, even if it's like fingers pointing back kind of thing. We want to go to most major suburbs in Dublin and most major suburbs in all the big cities, right? Okay. Big towns, cities, whatever you want to call them, across Ireland. And we're willing to invest in that, and we could create probably another 1,000 jobs in Ireland next year, if they give us a go. Right. But we're also not going to go to war. No. We're not going. Like, I don't want to. Like, I can't keep my face out of newspapers at the moment because of all this stuff, right? Man. It's just relentless. And we have a company to run, and we have revenue targets to go for. So we know we're welcome in the United States. We're going to grow there. We know we're welcome in the Middle East. We're going to grow there. Okay. We know we're welcome in Finland. We're going to grow there. There's a bunch of places. So, like, I don't want a fight. Like, if Ireland wants this, then we are going to do it. Yeah. And I think Ireland does want it, but I need, I don't want to be like a pig loves to roll around in mick. I'm not in mud. I'm not that pig.
Yeah. Okay. And so, where do you think, if Ireland is not the place that adopts the quickest, where do you think is that? Where do you think? No,
USA are charging ahead.
Yeah. Do you have many competitors over there, or?
We've Google and Amazon and Zipline. That's it. So there's Google, Amazon, Zipline, and us. Amazon, absolute disaster, made a mess of their drone delivery program, and it'll never succeed. And they spent $6 billion. So they'll need to just delete it and restart. Right. Google have a great drone delivery program, really good team, really nice team, brilliant CEO, really good platform. They're in the lead in terms of readiness, of scale, and volume. Right. So they're doing about 4,000 or 5,000 flights a week. In Dallas. They're opening up 6 new cities in 2026 in the USA. They'll be doing roughly somewhere between 5 and 10 million deliveries in 26. Our aim is to be doing about 3 to 5 million deliveries in 2026. So we're smaller than them, but we have bigger payload, bigger volume, bigger weight, more throughput. So we're the only drone delivery company that makes money on a delivery flight. So we're like the Ryanair, we make money.
Yeah. Would you let Google buy out, or
no? Would you say, your product? If anyone ever says they won't sell out, they're just lying to your face. No, but we don't want to. We wouldn't want to sell it early, and there's an opportunity for this business to go the whole way and be a public company. There's no reason it shouldn't be. We would only sell out if it's the right thing to do for the company, if that makes any sense. Yeah. What I mean by that is, this company, in the space that we're in and the lead that we have, if we can keep growing it, it's going to be a gazillion-dollar company. Yeah. And it wouldn't be the right thing for the company to sell it early to someone. Okay. Now, might be the right thing for me or for the team or whatever, but right now anyway, we're all in the mood to go for it.
Yeah.
And so long as we can raise enough capital to keep going, then we're just going to keep going.
Is this going to be the first company to take public, or
Well, I haven't, you know,
you haven't?
like we're not, so there's lots, the public markets are in the shite at the moment.
Yeah.
Now they might recover, but like there's some great companies that have raised just private the whole way.
Yeah.
They've done 10 rounds plus. Like Databricks is on their Series L now. You know, what's that, 12, 13 rounds, whatever. So that's a perfectly valid way to go. You just keep diluting the whole way and taking those capital on. But the public markets are much better markets to raise a big amount of capital.
Yeah.
And this business is going to need a big amount of capital. So if you think about it, the UK market needs about 40,000 aircraft. So multiply 40,000 by 20,000 or 10,000, let's say. Big fucking number.
Yeah.
So it's going to need a lot of money to grow. So it's going to either be able to use debt for that, which is fine, or use the public markets. So it's the type of industry that we're in, and like there's us. So Amazon failure, Google super, not really a competitor, but will be at some point. Zipline have done a great job, raised 1.8 billion now on 8 billion valuation, and we're ahead of Zipline.
Okay.
We're better in many ways than Zipline, in all ways than Zipline actually. But they're doing now 1,400 flights a day. And they're open 4 new cities in the USA. They've said they're going to, likely I would say they'll do 3 to 5 million deliveries next year. Right. And so we need to match that growth. And the only disadvantage we have is we're in Ireland. So it's harder to raise capital out of Ireland. And US investors that have all the money don't tend to back European companies. They prefer to back a US company.
Would you move to the US or relocate?
Oh no, I would personally. Yeah, of course, yeah. And that's probably, there's a good chance that I would have to do that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do that personally, but you always go where the action is. You have to go where the action is. But it's not the right thing now, neither for, well, I don't care what's right for me, but it's not the right thing for the company.
Yeah.
But at some point, if all our growth becomes USA only, because Europe has difficulties with growth. Europe kind of, it's just a tough place. It's fragmented. There's a lot of regulations that are just different in different states. It's just more complicated, whereas the USA is one single cohesive market. So like US is always going to be a bigger market for us, and if we went all in on the USA, I should probably be there. But there's plenty of other European companies, like Spotify is one example, it's still based in Sweden. You know, that win. So it can be done. You can build a company and stay. In fact, you can stay in Ireland, let alone Europe, and build a worldwide dominating company. But sometimes you have to be close to the fountain of money, which is San Francisco.
Okay, brilliant. Right, is there anything else that you want to cover, or you have enough?
No, usually people ask me for advice. If you find yourself asking people like me for advice, you're not in the right game.
Okay.
No, that's it. It was a pleasure. Enjoyed it. Follow me on Twitter.
Yeah, where can people find you? Twitter, LinkedIn?
Twitter, that's where all the crack is. Yeah,
That's
real
right.
Bobby Healy.
Okay, that's where they'll find you. And then your programming is out, what?
Yeah, well,
Second?
follow me on Twitter and you'll see that. It's called Nevernote, and I'll be publishing it probably in the next week or so. I've already published the code, but I'm still loads of work to do. Right. So I made the GitHub account private for now because it's a bit of a mess. So I'll clean it all up, spend the next week working on it. I'll get live by Christmas.
All right, but this will be out third week of January, so it should be up by then.
Perfect.
All right, brilliant. Thanks.
All right, nice one.
Pleasure.
Huge thanks to Bobby for sharing such a clear and honest look at how he thinks about hiring, scaling, and building a business with real ambition. If you took something from this episode, whether you're building a company, hiring your first team, or thinking about where you want to work next, make sure you share it with someone who you think will get value from the episode. This has been the 1040 podcast. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.